is a video diary that I believe the government is enlisted in, and therefore they cover for it. Okay, to prove that the government is something amiss is going on. When my son got hit with a car, and I believe that was 2015, and he was bleeding, someone deliberately waited till he took out the trash and then hit him with a car. He was only taking out the trash briefly, but they deliberately wait on me. So then they intentionally, a 15-year-old child with my niece, they were outside together and they were panicking, but didn't want me to call the police because it was deliberate. And I was wondering, because I didn't know, even though I was getting stalked, and I was like, what in the world? Why would someone might deliberately wait to hit a child? So I called the police, and the police was playing games and saying it was no big deal and didn't want to do the report. And then when I escalated, he went ahead and did the report, but some kind of way I can't get any records on it. Well, here's another thing. And then they schemed and gave me a criminal trespass at my son's school to deprive me of access to my child. They were so mentally ill and out of control. I could not get access. The police would not investigate where my child was being. He was being going to pillar to post. I guess that you can say that. Going to place to place to place. I didn't have access to him. I tried to get a principal, a coach said that we're going to get your son a scholarship. Have him come up here. So I allowed him to go up there, and it was nothing like what he said. In fact, the coach was trying to sabotage my access to my child. When I realized that multiple different parties were conspiring together to keep me from having access to my child, and I reported it to the police, and the police covered for it and told them not to give me access at all, or not even let me talk to him, period. His name was Deputy Dew out of Marion County. Then after that happened, I had the false arrest, and then when I had the false arrest, some things transpired, and I went up to the school to get access because they would not. He lived with Marcus Perez in Avenger, Texas. The police kept repeatedly covering for it. He would not give me access, wouldn't let me talk to him, but no one would return my calls. So I went up to the school because I am the legal custodial parent. So I went up to the school, police came, gave me a criminal trespass, prevented me from eating lunch, going to his games, and having any access, period. I talked to Roy Barker out of Cass County. I said, is that even legal to come in there and interrupt me when I'm a legal custodial parent? He said no. Then some things transpired with my son. He was terrified. Then the police lied and took him. My son jumped out the car. The police lied, didn't follow protocol, and tried to blame it on me, and wouldn't follow the protocol that I asked them to follow. Because I believe that they terrorized and tortured him into behaving the way that he was. I'm trying to establish a pattern of the government and being involved in enforcing child abuse for profit. Then we have the crimes with the courts that they're enforcing for years. It's been going on years. My son at the time, I think, was 16. And then that's 3 years ago for that child. It may have been, 16, This is just, a video diary of that. So here's other information. So I was able to speak with my daughter briefly in text. This was April 19th. Sometimes I get excited. I need to calm down. So this is April 19th. I said, "Good morning, beautiful. I love you." She said, "Good morning. I love you too." I said, "Have a nice day at school." She said, "I don't think I will." I said, "Why do you say that?" "I had a bad day. Have a bad day. The start of my day." And I said, "I'm sorry to hear that, love. I know it's hard to keep the faith." "Yeah." She said, "Love you." And then I said, "Love you too. All things are possible through God who strengthens us." And then I said, "What happened?" "Somebody started hitting me." I said, "Who?" And I think it was a typo. "Don't worry about it," is what I think she meant. And I said, "For what?" And she said, "Something they did." I said, "I don't understand. They got mad at me for something they did themselves." And then I said, "She told me that she wanted to live with me. Would you like to live with me?" She said, "I don't know." I said, "What do you mean?" "I don't want to leave everything I built, And I said, "Can I report the abuse? That's abuse. You don't deserve it." I think a lot greater things would be in store. A lot you may have forgotten about. She said, "Yeah, don't worry about it too much. I can handle this myself." Then I said, "If that's just it, you should not have to worry about it and handle this yourself." I know you're afraid and you have not been treated fairly by an awful lot of parties. I hope you have faith in humanity and can get it. Your faith in humanity can get restored. I love you, and I'm sorry the government has failed us. You deserve better. I don't know what else to do. Are you okay? I love you, and I'm trying the best I can to protect you. I'm so sorry. Okay, and then that was okay. And she talks about when she got hit that she thought she was blind because she wears glasses and she was panicking. Okay, so I reported this to the police. This child gets to look on the YouTube channel and see CPS, police, and every party I come into contact with cover and enforce her abuse. Okay, and then I say it again, who hit you? Okay, she said I had a bunch of floaters in my eye yesterday, so I panicked and went online to see that that it could mean I have a detached retina. So I went home crying. They said it's normal, so I don't know, but I think it's normal. Okay, and then I said, who hit you? And then she said yesterday. She said a friend. It has changed now. Okay, because they're covering up for stepmom and they're making this child cover for her abuser. They also had her covering in the past, conspiring with crimes. These are the things I can't talk about. So my children are being forced to cover up for the government's criminal activity. They're the torture campaign on children too, so they are conspirators in their abuse. Getting hit with a car and hanging up when I'm begging for my life. I could not tell them what was going on. I could not tell my family my life was in jeopardy. They kept hanging the phone up in my face, starting arguments, like a multitude of other locations. So can you imagine how traumatic that is for someone you love to have to conspire with their abuse that you don't know if it'll end in murder, but you got to cover for it in this torture campaign? That's really psychologically abusive for the government to do this, but that's what they're doing. Okay, now it has changed, but the CPS or the police department will not investigate it, period. Okay, a friend accused me of doing something. She said she don't think her day would be good at school. She don't think so because it already started out bad. Now it has changed. Okay, the friend accused me of doing something they did. Okay, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. And I said, your friend accused you of doing something they did. You probably need to go to the eye doctor. She said, yeah, pretty much though. Hold on. Yeah, pretty much they though I ruined their friendship when I asked them something, but I was something they did. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And yeah, I know I'm going something this week. I don't understand. Okay, I asked them if they were friends with someone and their current friends blocked them and they got mad at me thinking I told them who they were friends with, the past friends or something. That doesn't make sense. How did you see your friend before you got to school to get hit? No, I was at the school in the makerspace. What is a makerspace? It's in school. So you were hit in school by a friend. Your story does not make sense. Did anyone call you today? No. Yes, I was hit at school. Where were you? I don't know. I guess I had a typo. Where were hit? I guess I meant to say where were you hit? What do you mean? I was hit at school and I haven't received a call, and I was hit in the face with a backpack by a friend. I said, Lord have mercy. Does that sound like a friend? I know. Are there any witnesses? What does IG mean? I guess I listened to the report of the police and I know that you reported that I'm getting abused and I don't appreciate that. Now on this date, she has stated that she wanted to live with me. After she got hit, her tune changed. I believe to listen to the report of the police and I know that you reported that I'm getting abused and I don't appreciate that. That's why I did change. Did you change the story? I am not getting abused, so please, and I am happy where I'm at. That's why I don't like talking to you. Something I can tell you, I can't tell you anything without getting used against me. Please stop what you're doing. I love you, but you have got to stop this, please. Okay, so when they got caught in lies, so this is how the pattern was. She'd reach out for help. Then the government would torture her and whatever's going on. Then she would change her tune. She had already stated when they covered up for the stepmom stating that they were going to give her away to CPS. She had stated that she wanted to live with me. But the government is torturing her and enforcing child abuse to control my kids so I don't have access. The same torture campaign they're doing with me is the same torture campaign they're doing with my children. How do we know this? Back in Nebraska, when she was 8, the school was terrorizing her, lying to the community, so we would be isolated in the community. They let her wet herself where she couldn't use the bathroom, blatantly lied, harassed me, blatantly lied, saying that she was not doing her math properly. Then I showed all the paperwork that she was getting slandered to the police department, to the police with evidence of grades that they were failing her out of malice and slandering her. The police had them change the grade from like a 40. They did it the prior semester and got away with it. I called the superintendent and multiple different parties. They ignored it. So then the police saw the grades, and then they were forced to change the grades from a 40 to the 89, which she was actually a high 90. But they changed it from a low 40, which would have made her fail, to a high 80. Then after that, my daughter's behavior was really peculiar. She did not want to have nothing at all to do with those people in the community. There was a girl that invited her over for an event. They were supposed to be pillars of the community. This is where she eventually got strangled. She kept messing up, so she wouldn't go over there. My daughter is brilliant. So they're supposed to have a Santa over there in this big event, and I told her she kept doing things. It was like it was intentional, so she wouldn't have to go over there. Mind you that we were on the cam. They would not investigate the voyeurism crimes. She was aware that we were being canned. So anyway, she kept deliberately doing things so she wouldn't have to go over this person's house. I didn't want to deprive her from going over there. It was the holidays, but she kept doing some really extreme things. And then when I remember the look on her face, it was like she was relieved she didn't have to go over there. So then fast forward to we picked up our kids on Friday from school. Well, I didn't pick them up, but it was no problem Friday. I told someone over the weekend, the school, that I'm glad that I got a new job and I was excited about starting Monday. Because, I deliberately got the job while my daughter was at school. Fast forward to Monday, now the school is shut down. The school has shut down Monday. So my daughter cannot, go to school. It's shut down. So then I have to have this woman that's supposed to be a pillar of the community keep my daughter. I didn't connect that, I never heard of anything like my experience. So anyway, the lady kept her, and then the lady was trying to set me up on weird things. And then eventually the lady said that she can't control herself. She's really upset. And I said, what are you upset about? She said, your daughter bit my granddaughter. And that's not, I said that my daughter don't behave like that. My daughter grew up in church, and, let me figure out what's going on. So then my daughter had a meltdown and told me the girl wouldn't let her play with her toys, and she was getting mistreated the whole time she was over there. The daughter was bullying her. Then she said that when she picked up a toy, the daughter got up and strangled her, and she couldn't breathe. And when she couldn't breathe, that she thought of to bite her so she can catch her breath and breathe. I told the grandmother that, and I said, can we get the kids together to figure this out, sort it out? She declined. So I reported it to the police so the police could get it straight. They didn't. And in fact, they concocted a scheme to arrest me shortly after. Then her ride was telling me that she was getting tortured. I asked the school before all this chaos transpired, I said, I really don't feel comfortable with my daughter walking to school, even though the walk wasn't that far. I said, I don't feel comfortable. Is there anyone in the community that you can recommend or anything that we can recommend? They said no. Then they concocted a scheme with CPS that say that I was not safe because my daughter was walking to school. I wasn't a good parent. In addition to that, on their body cam that they're covering up for, they also was enticing a multitude of people not to give my daughter a ride. And the lady said, please, can you talk to these teachers because they're terrorizing me when I give your daughter a ride? I said, what? Yeah, they keep mistreating me, and they're telling me that you're mentally ill, and they shouldn't have had any knowledge because I wasn't really involved in a lot of things at that point because we didn't have a car. So they were blatantly lying. They didn't have a lot of knowledge to know if I was mentally ill or not. So it didn't make sense. So she said, "Can you please let them know to not terrorize me when I give your daughter a ride?" So then I wrote a note. I said, "We have just left," and I said I gave them because we had just left the domestic violence location. They had schemed time we had left the domestic violence location. I had went April 19th, 2018. And I came back, I believe it was April 25th, late that day, 2018. The domestic violence location deprived assistance, and I saw someone stalking me. It's a long story. So then when I came back, I wrote a letter to the school. And I said, please do not entice her ride, to not give her a ride. I gave them the location of where we've been at the domestic violence location. I told them that we have an advocate and we have a abusive situation crisis that we're going through, and it impedes on our safety, my daughter's safety, when they try to entice her ride, to not give her a ride to school. When I did that, they called CPS and told CPS I was having delusions. Okay, so when a multitude of conspirators got caught in their crimes, then they had to evaporate because it showed a conspiracy, an obvious conspiracy. Why did this school shut down? So the best thing to do would just be able to evaporate out of the whole thing. So when they evaporated out of the experience, they have forgotten that now they have con to take my child custody rights away. Then they went back and they didn't take my child custody rights away. I was a legal custodial parent in 2018. My custodial rights were taken away in 2019. They have forgotten in that scheme that they didn't give me access to my child. So I was a legal custodial parent, and I reported it to the court, and I reported multiple times I didn't have access. So to cover up for that con, they just deprived me of my constitutional right to even appear at court. Because now the con is that I was a legal custodial parent, and my right didn't get taken away to 2019, but I reported to you October 26th of 2018 that I didn't have access to my daughter. So they just wouldn't let me appear at court to discuss it. So before the Judge Mary Murphy, when the con was with Kim Cooks on July 10th, when they took my child custody rights away with no CPS investigation and deprived me of my right to even appear at court multiple times, they had an opportunity to sit on that and think on that. Then they blame Mary Murphy for it, a judge that I never met. Okay, I've never met Mary Murphy. She's taken away my child custody rights away with no CPS investigation, period. So then they thought about what Mary Murphy did. Then they had to go back and say Kim Cooks did it. So Kim Cooks took the child custody rights away July 10th. But they have already stated Mary Murphy did it August 2nd, 2019, when I was in jail on false charges. So they can't make up their mind who took the child custody rights away. Because why would Judge Mary Murphy terminate my child custody rights with no court-appointed attorney, no CPS investigation, someone that I've never met? So then they keep going back and forth who did it. Mary Murphy, Kim Cook, Mary Murphy, Kim Cook, we don't know yet. So what we'll do is just deprive you of your right to even have an attorney and even appear at court, because we can't get our story straight. That's why the police enforces and will not do a police investigation, because it incriminates a lot of conspirators. What is going on? I believe the government is behind this, and they're torturing my daughter and my family as well to conspire with their abuse, which is child abuse. Trying to control her when she was 8, and letting her get strangled and all these other events that was going on, letting her wet herself, teachers doing a multitude of things, to my child. So anyway, to make a long story short, this is just a video diary of the government enlisted child abuse and interference with child custody crimes, which is a felony. So the government is now conspirators in child abuse. And you're witnessing on this YouTube channel. So I believe when I go speak with the party today, what the government entices people to do is conspire with their crimes and gaslight me and call me mentally ill. So they have to look like the person at the church said that she looked at some videos and she saw police were taking the reports. Police were doing what they could do. But some kind of way, they're still depriving me of services, which is a crime and also a lawsuit that we're still not discussing. So I believe when I go speak with this gentleman today, he likes me to spin my wheels and control the government. So I believe what will happen today is he's going to tell me that he thinks I need to seek mental treatment like they did at this other church. They played games, deprived me of services. In the grief share, there's support with the grief share. They deprived me of the support with the grief share. Why would they do that? So I was in the grief share support group. They would not follow the protocol and give me the support that they give people in the grief share support group. Then when I escalated, because they're supposed to give you referrals and resources, they would not. They would not in the grief share. That's what they do. So when they would not do it, they just said that they give me mental and refer me to a mental hospital. I have that recording. So I don't know if I'm telling them why would they deprive me of the support they give and then not give me the counseling they offer in-house, but refer me to another location to get services that I have never got. This is just a video diary of the government enforced and enlisted child abuse. I think that they're conspirators in this abuse and they enforce it out of corruption and criminal activity.